The Guardians of Geekdom podcast is intended for a mature audience and is not suitable for children. Discretion is advised.
What is this shit? Trips, get in here.
What do you want, Vince?
Listen to this shit.
Who the fuck do these guys think they are?
You know what? They're using our footage. We're gonna have them blocked.
Yeah, that'll show those geeks who's boss.
We're gonna bury them, Trips. Just like everybody on the main roster.
I've been meaning to talk to you about that,
Hold on. You'll have to excuse me, Trips. I've got a phone call.
We're gonna talk about this, Vince,
Hello?
The Guardians of Geekdom are off limits, Vince.
Excuse me?
Those two geeks you just blocked on YouTube, they're mine. Keep your grapefruits out of my goddamn business, Vince.
Lord Disney, I've always kept to our agreement.
And you better keep to our agreement, Vince, or the Saudis won't be your only problem.
As you wish, Lord Disney.
Peace, bitch.
Jesus Christ. That guy scares the hell out of me.
Greetings, fellow travelers or fellow comic book store patrons. I'm your boy, the DOJ,
Spade was Prime here one more time.
and we have a very special guest here today. Give it up for Muncy from the comic shop in Decatur.
How's everybody, all the space travelers? It's the Marvelous one.
There you go.
Yeah.
We decided to beam down to Earth so Spade could pick up stuff from his box.
Yeah, because it's been a while and it was starting to overflow, so my man was like sending me text messages and stuff, what you got in space. I'm like, dude, I gotta go get my comic books.
Yeah.
I was going to threaten, breaking legs, but he's a pretty big dude, so he's taking the hits, so I don't know.
Yeah, maybe just a couple, here and there over the years, so.
Yeah. Well, you were worried we were going to have a TLC match when we first came in.
Yep.
We assured you that wasn't going to happen.
We had tables, we had chairs, we just had no L's,
Yeah.
no ladders.
Oh, I got them. They're out back.
Oh, my goodness.
We could do it.
I'll pass on it.
Yeah, hard pass. We take our lumps in space nowadays.
Oh, man. So, what's been going on with you this week?
Oh, Batman 89's all the hype right now. New Joker character called Punchline. It's a woman, we don't know the origin or the relation yet. She just has a cameo in the book, but it's hitting big numbers on eBay, already 30. It was pre-selling $30-$40 on eBay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy for a new $4 book to be like that.
Yeah.
It's all the hype.
That's insane, man. Anytime you have a first appearance of somebody and people find out, those books really go quickly.
They do, especially if it's popular.
Yeah.
Now, is this supposed to play into the whole Three Jokers storyline that they've teased for a while?
If it ever comes out.
I know that was kind of one of those things, like they talked about it and then suddenly there was no more talk about it.
The artist, Jason is it Fabok or?
Facebook?
Yeah,
Facebook?
I hate to pronounce it wrong. I apologize to him if he listens to this. But he says on his Twitter that it's coming soon this year. So hopefully we'll see it soon. But I don't think it's a connection. I think it's something separate.
Okay.
So the Three Jokers is more like a standalone story.
Yeah, it's a
I
standalone.
gotcha.
I'm sure it'll have lots of connections. They're doing a huge. Have you heard about the 5G thing that DC's planning this year?
A little bit, not
Vaguely.
much.
You're more of a Marvel guy, aren't you?
More DC, but
DC, yeah.
I'm kind of getting more into like independent stuff like Image and IDW, but I still keep up with the big two.
supposedly DC has this thing where there's 5 generations, and like, you know, generation 1 was like the earliest heroes like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Oh, I did hear about that.
Yeah. And then moving on up until 4G, which is, I guess, right now, and then 5G will be the next generation of heroes. And they're saying that the books are going to be replaced, like the characters are going to be replaced by the newer characters. So, you know, this is all speculation on my part. They haven't really. We know 5G is coming. We just don't know what it is. So they're saying, like, you know, maybe Superman will be like Jonathan, his son, and Batman will be Lucius Fox instead of
Bruce Wayne.
Instead of Bruce Wayne, and those will be the books we get instead of the Batman. So there's a lot of mixed stuff on the internet, a lot of angry people.
Yeah, because I could see where a lot of people would be like in an uproar that it wasn't their traditional characters.
Yeah, true, but it's like I think about it like this: when, especially in the case of Batman, we seen him when he adopted Robin. Robin was small to preteen, or Dick Grayson. Let me say it like that. Was kind of like a preteen almost. Then he grew up. Dick Grayson looked like he's about 25 or 30 now. But the problem is, so does Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And I'm like, there ain't that much plastic surgery and that many drugs that can keep you young looking for that long. And I'm just like, so I can see where people would be angry about it because, it's not the tradition. But at the same time, it's like, in the real world, we're getting older. So how come the characters couldn't get somewhat older? And in the case of Superman, I mean, I could see where he, being Kryptonian, he would age slower, but he still ages. So I don't know. I'm not really indifferent as long as it ain't like a whole just total complete reboot like how they did the New 52. I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah.
I got to see how it goes. It could be the best thing we ever read. When they announced New 52, I said, this is going to ruin me. This is the stupidest idea they've ever done. And what do I know? Because I sold out and, had all kinds of new customers, so I thought I knew my business pretty good.
New 52 did bring, with what it said it was going to do, try to bring a lot of readers to DC or into comics in general. And people who stopped, they were trying to bring them back. So it was a good thing on that. I think they just didn't really have a clear footing of where they wanted to go with it, what direction, and
they were great out of the gate, but they didn't have a lot of stamina.
Yeah,
didn't hold up.
There wasn't a lot of continuity to a lot of the stuff in the New 52, or the things that you started to get invested in would get canceled, or
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it was. I know that became kind of a mental struggle for me for comics around that time. It was like every time I would get into something,
it's canceled.
It was canceled, or they'd reboot it, or so.
That's a big selling point now is the reboots and the variants and the number ones. Unfortunately, I don't like that business model, but it's what I deal with.
Right. Well, do you think books with new versions of these heroes will sell?
That is a question I'm tangling myself with.
Yeah.
If we see, I think honestly DC's sold better for me for years now, and which is surprising, but it's because the Marvel books relaunched so much that you lose a little bit. It's like moving, you lose some friends, if you're a business, you lose some customers, and you keep doing it, and it gets thinner and thinner. Where Batman, and Detective, they'd never been relaunched till New 52.
Right.
And then they relaunched again with Rebirth, but that's still only 2 times in the last decade.
Yeah.
So it's easier to hang on to those titles because they're not relaunching, so you keep those guys. But if you start doing it and start replacing the heroes, how many people are actually going to read Batman if it's not Bruce Wayne?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was my big thought, was when you start, replacing these heroes, how is it going to translate to the audience?
Also makes me wonder about, especially like in the early 90s when they killed off Superman and, they basically disabled Batman when John Paul Valley took over as Batman for a while. If they had stuck with that mode, just retire Bruce Wayne, but kind of let him mentor, kind of like how Batman Beyond was, and stuck with that mode of a new Batman, would people have gotten into it more? Because it's like now that person would have been established instead of just brand new. And of course we live in a whole different world than we did 30 some odd years ago. How finicky or whatnot people can be, especially with comics. And it was the same
the
thing.
internet.
In the
Yeah.
internet,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. And it would be like, the same thing with replacing Superman, which one character that they did well, that DC did well replacing, was a Flash.
Yeah.
After Barry disappeared and Wally West took over for literally 23 years.
Right.
And he did fine with it, until they went back. I see you got Flash Rebirth over there on your wall.
Fantastic story.
Great
It is a
story.
fantastic story.
But it was like, wow, now you go back to Barry, but they don't just kick Wally out to the side and say, okay, we have nothing else to do for you or with you. They still kept him somewhat relevant.
I thought they did a good job with Kyle too in Green Lantern. When they replaced. He's my favorite Green Lantern and one of my favorite comic book characters.
Yeah.
And to this day, a lot of people, prefer Kyle when you talk about the best Green Lantern.
Yeah.
It's still Hal, but I'd say close to 50% of them are going to tell you Kyle.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's good.
Because Kyle Rayner was an artist.
Yep.
It made it, the constructs were more imaginative than
And you can
Hal's.
relate to him more. I love it when you can relate to a comic book character.
Yeah.
He was drunk in an alley when he gave him. That's why Sinestro calls him Alley Rat. Like that's great. That's good writing.
That is. The Green Lanterns I were, of course, Hal. John Stewart wasn't relatable for me, and Kyle Rayner, like you said, being younger, being an artist, having that different type of mindset where it's like, man, I daydream stuff, but I like to write, like to draw, like to do this, like to do that. So that made it, real good for me, real relatable. Of course, mostly universally, everybody's least favorite Green Lantern is Guy Gardner.
Man, I love Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I
So,
love him. Best costume too.
yeah. It's got the sweet vest. Man.
Yep.
I didn't say he ate. I'm just saying it's usually most people's least favorite.
He's a very underrated character, I think.
Yeah.
He's funny. I liked him. I
Yeah.
always was a big Guy fan. He's probably my second favorite.
Well, see,
I'm not a Hal fan at all.
I grew up in the time that Superman had just died, and there was a lot of really great Guy Gardner stuff around that time of him giving shit to the imposters and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, there was.
So I always enjoyed Guy Gardner growing up.
He was supposed to be Earth's Green Lantern. It was just geography. He likes to pick on Hal about that because Hal was the second choice, but he was closer at the time. So he said, so Guy always says, I was supposed to be, the first Green Lantern.
What a great gimmick, really.
Yeah. Ex Michigan coach, University of Michigan football coach. His dad beat him. He has a great story. He's a good character.
Yeah, I always thought it was cool when he turned into a red lantern.
Yeah, I
It
dug
made
that.
sense to me.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, Kyle supposedly dead and him raging out. That was some good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a lot of rage, so you could definitely see that. There's a big fan theory about that. Where I liked Green Lantern Rebirth, also it was a good story. I'm just not a Hal fan, so I didn't really like his redemption. I liked that he went crazy and killed people. And there's a big fan theory. I just saw somebody who posted online like last week or something. I'd never heard of it before, where he had that Hal, when he went to Parallax, he actually created the emotional spectrum himself.
Oh wow!
To kind of retcon what happened to him. That he did it, like he made all the different emotional rings. And,
Wow, that's crazy.
So he wouldn't, he was so guilty about
Right.
it. He was like, this is what's going to happen, and there really was no yellow interaction in the rings that made him do it. It was himself.
Yeah,
He just played it that way, so nobody would know.
yeah.
So Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, man,
It's a long story.
he's been giving us a lot of grief. And what did he blow you out of?
He kicked me out of a window.
Kicked you out of a window. Yeah.
We'll have to get you up to speed sometime.
Yep, I'll have to hear that story. I'm not a Mickey Mouse fan, so.
Well, you're on the right side then, sir.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Damn mouse.
Yep. He's just a rat. Yeah. We'll just call him a rat. What he is.
Yeah.
It's very complicated. That's all I can say.
You'll hear it on some of our previous podcasts, GOG podcasts, about just the evil stuff that he does, and how Disney Plus is brainwashing everybody.
I believe it.
He's the real life Thanos.
I can see it. He's a filthy rat. I don't like him.
Yeah. Join the club, sir.
Yeah.
So we got our own team assembled, to take him out.
Disney Star Wars is dead to me. I loved it before that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that because a lot of my customers are big Star Wars fans. So we might want to edit that out. No, I'm just playing. You can leave it in there. You can leave it.
Power of it.
Yeah.
That's my superpower.
I only give my opinion so far. I don't want to drive anybody out. You read Star Wars? No. Don't read that. Don't give me your money.
That's pretty good.
How are the Star Wars books these days?
So they're pretty good. They relaunched again. Marvel's model. But they did do it in a decent way where they when they relaunched, it was a big deal. They sold 1 million copies of #1. Marvel had Star Wars back, and they sold 1 million copies of #1 unprecedented. But now they decided, a few years later that they're going to relaunch it again. But the first one was, New Hope era, and this new one's like after Empire era, or like around that. So I guess they'll eventually relaunch it again, and it'll be around,
the new movies.
The new movies, but it's pretty good. It sells pretty good. People say it's pretty good. I flip through it just so I can tell people, what's going on. But I don't really read it. To say I read it would be a lie. But they just relaunched Vader again too, and it's selling well. And there was this Kylo Ren miniseries that I haven't read at all, and it was just hot as fire. Like everybody was calling me for it.
Oh wow.
Which is surprising because the newer stuff, the miniseries and stuff, hadn't really sold that well, but that book just went on fire. Like everybody wanted it.
I think people really like the Kylo Ren character.
I think they do. I think he's why you're dragging me into this stuff I shouldn't talk about. I think he's a ripoff of Jason Solo, who's probably my favorite Star Wars character, who will never get used because they erased the EU and Disney bought it. But I think he was he was pretty much just a Jason Solo. They needed that character.
Right.
Where, Rey is just a Jaina Solo, So.
And that's the thing about Star Wars. There's so much lore, and then with Disney acquiring it, like they killed a lot of the legends stuff, so it's...
Well, that's what they did. That just made no sense to me. You have this endless supply of, well, not endless, but you have tons of this stuff in the EU. Why just straight out say out of the gate when you buy it that you're going to erase it all?
Yeah.
Why not say we may or may not use this stuff?
Right.
But they wanted to start fresh, and now I think they're out of ideas. So they've already brought Thrawn in. They're starting to bring those characters.
I know they've implemented some of those characters that they've gotten rid of, or made certain characters canon again.
Yeah, and now they're talking about using Darth Revan and stuff like that, where it was supposedly they erased it all, but which was just dumb. Like I said, they could have changed the stories, just said we're going to use the characters.
Dang,
but that's Mickey for you.
That's why he has to be. That's why he has to be stopped.
Found all that shit. Am I supposed to cuss? I'm sorry, I didn't know.
You're good.
Okay. You can cuss on here.
YouTube's new thing with kid friendly stuff. We're like, no, we're just going all adult content.
All right, cool.
If you teeter that line, you might meet the YouTube police.
See, y'all used to be tag team partners.
Yeah, we were tag team. Our very first tag team championship was was us.
Oh yeah, awesome.
We wrestled down in Moulton back in 2004, 2005, something like that. And it was a new federation.
Long enough to forget.
Yeah, new federation coming up, and a lot of our old guys from most of the shows that went down there were some of the I call them old, but I mean like the ones back then.
The OGs.
The OGs. Thank you. And we were doing a lot of cool stuff in there. It was so funny though. The building we was in wasn't very big at all. It was like an old dance hall or something.
Yeah.
And so the
very low
ceiling was really, really low.
Oh man.
So you couldn't jump off the top rope at all. Otherwise, you're going straight through the ceiling. Who was it that gave Whiplash the suplex and he walked around on the ceiling?
I don't remember.
I thought it was you.
Maybe Nubby.
But one of our buddies was going to take a suplex, and normally you have to do like Chris Benoit, snap it real quick.
Yeah.
Well, he extended because he's short. He extended, and you see his feet are on the ceiling. So he literally is walking around the ceiling, and we're watching on the monitor in the back like, did he just really walk around on the ceiling?
That's crazy.
Whiplash was amazing and
Yeah.
things like that.
And it was so funny. It was like, wow, the crowd got a big pop out of it. They laughed and everything. And then we get back to the back, and our booker, he wasn't mad, but he was definitely less than pleased by it.
Yeah.
So we were gone for about 2 weeks. We come back, now there's this big hole cut out of the ceiling where we could come off the top rope. It's like, wow. And then he tells me first thing is, I want to see your elbow drop. I'm like, I got up on the rope before the show, and even though the ceiling is big, the edge of it is like right here by you. So you turn, you're right there, and I'm like, I am not jumping off the top rope.
You have to jump like up and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would never deliver the elbow drop, my top rope elbow drop. I was like,
messed
nope.
up.
I'm going to rip off the rock and do the people's elbow.
Yeah. I always wanted to wrestle. We did that stupid backyard wrestling for a while back in the day when we were dumb and drunk.
Oh, yeah.
We
You know
I was
a bit about that,
to
don't
say,
you?
I was a yardie myself.
Yeah, we did it in Hartselle. I had a couple apartments across from Walmart there, and we'd get hay bales and like put plyboard across them.
Oh yeah,
We'd go out there and
everybody had their version of the ghetto ring.
people would stop on the side of the road and watch us.
They would watch y'all wrestle.
Oh yeah, man, they'd pull right over. We'd have cars all up, like me and my buddy Adam Howard and Brian Akon Mirza, and we'd get out there and do stupid shit. I got hurt so many times falling on the ground. Just idiot. I've been in the ring, done some boxing, but falling on the ground is not.
It's a whole different
It's a whole
animal.
different thing.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people all the time. With them, like, so is it fake? I'm like, okay, well, let me body slam you, and you'll see for yourself. Right here? Yeah. But this is concrete. I'm like, but you just called it fake.
Yeah.
So you get up like I don't touch you, right? Nobody's ever taken me up on the challenge yet. Now, did have one dude that he told me, he's like, oh, I bet you those chops don't hurt. I'm like, you want to find out? Yeah. I said, okay. And mind you, which he knows this, I cannot chop worth a damn. I'm Ric Flair, I am not. But that day, I lit him up pretty good. So I rubbed my hands together, warmed up. I said, this might sting a little bit. And I said, you might want to raise your chin. So he raised his chin up, and I popped him. Bam! Instantly, he crosses his arms and dropped to a knee. I said, that feel fake to you? Man, that shit hurt. I said, it was intended to. I said, it's a chop. I think it stopped my heart. I'm like, quit being so dramatic. I barely touched you. No, man, you tried to kill me. I said, all right, then. The next time you use that F word, talk about fake, not the other F word, you might want to think about this moment. So from that point on, I've never heard him say wrestling was fake anymore.
Nah, wrestlers are some of the most conditioned athletes out there. You ever watch that wrestler with Mickey Rourke? I figure that's probably a fairly accurate
Absolutely
depiction.
I think that's probably why it got so much heat, is because it was a little too accurate.
Yeah.
It definitely kind of threw kayfabe out the window, but at that point, kayfabe was
Already
long dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as there were those guys that were doing steroids and swapping pills, and but even the things as far as like the backstage politics and people calling their matches and things like that. A lot of that was like, oh wow, that's very close to home.
Yeah.
And even the scenes where the Hall of Famers or the legends are doing the autograph signings, nobody's there. A lot of that was like, it's a brutal truth that
really
movie
is.
kind of touched light on. That I don't think it endeared itself to a lot of name people.
It was so funny because when I've seen the movie like 2 or 3 times,
Yeah.
and the first time I watched it, I just because of that reason, I didn't like it. And I'm like, you know, and I
You
wouldn't
got
watch
exposed too much.
Yeah. And then I saw it, you know, on Buddy of mine rented it on DVD and we watched it and I'm kind of like, nah. And then I saw it on TV one time. And so I was like, well, all right, now it's like, it is what it is. But it is, you know, a lot of truth in that movie. It, like you said, hits close to home, like hits very close to home for a lot of indie wrestlers and even some that have made it to big time. It's just like, that kind of is how it happens.
Yeah. The guy that he wrestles in the final match of the movie is actually the guy that made the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I mean, he is a worker. So, I mean, it was definitely from a wrestler standpoint.
Yeah.
But, again, it was a little too exposing for some people in the business.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was a good movie. I thought Mickey Rourke did a great job. And, he, you know, you could definitely tell he put in the work for it.
He did. And it was funny because that transitioned over to WrestleMania 25 at the time when he was when they had like some of the older guys like Steamboat and Piper and Jimmy Snuka all had a match against Chris Jericho.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Jericho won. Of course, he was the younger one at the time, so he, you know, and the more active, so he had to win, had to beat the legends. But Mickey Rourke, being also a former boxer, knocked him out at the end of the match, and it was like the crowd went wild. I was like, yeah, I was like, that's pretty cool. How big of a heel do you have to be for, you know, an actor to be like, all right, bam, knockout punch, and down goes Jericho.
There's actually, Jericho actually just came out on an interview recently talking about all that was supposed to play out differently because Mickey Rourke had announced it too early that the movie studio kind of shut down how physical he was able to get. Apparently they were supposed to have like either a full-blown match or more of a confrontation than what they did. But
that's crazy. I just one of my friends was telling. I haven't watched much wrestling. I used to watch it constantly, but I don't watch it much anymore. And he was telling me that Billy Corgan owns TNA now.
He owns the NWA.
NWA, yeah. I apologize. Yeah, NWA, and that was like completely out of left field for me. I was like, Billy Corgan.
Apparently he's been a long time wrestling fan.
Really?
Like he like this isn't, as much as it seems weird to everyone else, a lot of people close to him is like, no, this is, I knew he was going to do something like this.
I haven't really known any wrestlers except y'all. When I worked at the airport, they'd come through.
Yeah.
And one time I was joking. It was mostly the jobbers. Occasionally I would get you know, somebody big, but I got a few guys coming through, and they were wanting me to upgrade them, you know, to a bigger car because you know, they're big dudes, and and I was like, hey, if you kick Tyson Kidd's ass for stealing my haircut, and then they thought it was hilarious. They were taking pictures of my haircut, and, like texting it to him, like, look at this dude says you stole his haircut.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty
that's
good.
Not the Tyson Kid, that's the Muncy.
That is
Exactly.
the Muncy, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, he's a fraud.
Tyson Kidd, you stole it. We're calling you out, man.
Gimmick infringement.
I'll get in the ring, buddy. Come on, let's do it. I got backup with me.
I got his back.
That's right. There we go.
That's pretty great.
That is good. Also, another wrestling movie which you hadn't seen it yet, but it was Fighting with My Family, the story of Paige. And even though it's you know, The Rock produced that, I've seen that, and it's sort of along the same lines as the wrestler, but it is more WWE oriented. But it does show the same thing. A lot of what's behind the scenes. It's more of a life, you know, like chasing your goal type thing. That movie is, as opposed to just how we said earlier with the wrestler breaking kayfabe. But it's still, you know, I enjoyed the movie.
That was the more tragic side of wrestling, I think.
And Fighting with My Family is kind of a more, I guess, more of a upbeat / glorification side of wrestling. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like when you see people who are trying out or trying to make it, and somebody says you're not good enough, or you just don't have it.
Yeah.
And you know, seeing the dejection on their faces is just like, wow, man. Because you know, we've all done something that we really wanted to do, and we just wasn't able to succeed at it. And it's just like that amount of like, you know, you go back thinking, what if I had done this different? What if I had done that different? Would I have made it with this? So it was a different type, and then with the way they portrayed Paige's older brother, which I have a younger sister, and she is she's working on a doctorate degree now.
Awesome.
So he was like jealous that his sister made it and he didn't, because it was his dream too. So I was like, after the movie, I was like, yeah, I can kind of relate to that. You know, like, going wrong, we had separate dreams, but it's like watching your younger sibling surpass you is not an easy pill to swallow. And it's like, but I understand it because she has to live her life. She has accomplished her dreams and goals, and I still have mine. I just have newer ones now. Again, like, people would always ask me, well, are you upset you never made it to WWE? Nope. I'm perfectly happy with my career, how it turned out. Plus, I just wasn't willing to sell my soul for
So
it.
after our last podcast, you're never going to WWE, bro. Sorry. Got you blacklisted.
Yeah, I know. We got a banned, blocked.
got blocked
Our last podcast got
WWE
blocked
for
by
our last
WWE. So
podcast.
Really?
yeah. WWE, you guys suck. I hope you're listening to this too.
We'll never work for you, damn it.
That's wild. They just block you. Like,
Yeah.
people, the internet, man, it's a crazy place.
It is a very crazy place. We've learned that over the past year.
You say just the littlest thing, and then you could get crucified.
But that's all the time joke about, you know, if we ever got famous, you know, it's like it'd be so easy to tear us down because we've already said a bunch of incriminating, terrible things.
That's why I said I thought about running for politics for a while. I thought that might be what I was going to run for mayor of Hartselle, you know, even though my shop's in Decatur. I live in Hartselle, so I've thought about it a lot, and then I was like, man, I don't want people digging in my past. I don't want them to find some crazy nonsense that I did when I was
the
like,
worst thing.
like, did you, I don't know how much I want to say on it. It's like, I was going to try to think of a great analogy. Did you watch that donkey show, Muncy? We have it. We found it. And then my daughter, you know, she's 12. She's like, Daddy, what is a donkey show? And I'm like, oh my God, you've ruined me just because I wanted to be mayor and help people. So, yeah, I decided it's better to stay in the...
Don't ever go to Tijuana.
Yeah, better to stay in the dark, yeah.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Like, yeah, I could see where they would have like, nope, not doing it. Because they, like, not only digging in your past, but just fabricating stuff, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Slinging the mud, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, you can put a spin on anything now to make it seem way worse than what it is.
Yep, like one arrest, and they spin it out like you're a drug lord. Or
Right,
something.
right.
The kingpin of crime.
But you're Walter White.
You get, I guess you'd have to have, like, Bruce Wayne type money to, you know, suit it all out.
That's why they're all rich.
Yeah, exactly. Here's your hush money.
And even they get stuff thrown at them.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, speaking of Bruce Wayne, going back to the comic book realm, what do y'all think of the new Batman suit and you know, Robert Pattinson as Batman in this movie now?
I think the suit looks really good.
I saw that first trailer where it was like a red light, and you know, you see his suit, and of course, first thing most people thought about was Daredevil on Netflix.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Because
They
you can't
compared-
see the top of the
Yeah, and he looks like Daredevil. They ripped off Daredevil. It was like, just wait
Just
until
shut
you
up.
get a full picture.
Yeah, just watch
that
it.
was a camera test. Was
Right.
all that was.
I think they give him too much flack just for being in the Twilight films. You know, just
Yeah.
give him a chance. He's, I think he looks like a good young Bruce Wayne. You know, how do we know he's not? He won't be a terrific
Right.
actor.
And that's the thing. He strikes me as an actor who's really worked hard for his craft. You know, so I was pretty optimistic about it when I heard that he had got it.
You know, even Ben Affleck has come out and said that he thinks he's going to be good in this role. It's going to
Yeah.
be great, and he basically gave him his blessing, because I was reading an interview with Affleck recently, and he said about why he stepped away from the Batman role, and he was just like, it really wasn't. I mean, it was, of course, how the studio wanted him to do it, because he was going to star and direct it. And then he was like, well, I can star in it, you know, let somebody else direct it. But he said a friend of his told him, you will drink yourself to death over this role. It's like he had going through Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. he
and
basically
divorced too.
Huh?
Like, he was getting divorced through all that.
Yeah,
too,
so he basically got sick of the role, and he was just like, nope, I'm stepping away from it. Like, he caught so much flack, which I loved his portrayal, how he was in Batman vs Superman. A lot of people didn't like it because, like, Batman murdered people. Like, he did in earlier books too. All you got to do is read them. But just having that old grizzled, almost no hope type Batman was different for me, and it was like I enjoyed that, because how many times have you come across someone, and I know I have in my lifetime, that they have like no hope, no light, no joy in their life anymore because like something happened to them and it stole it.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of at that point where it's just like,
that is Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. So when he performed that role in Batman vs Superman, I dug it. Justice League, to me, the way that I guess the way Joss Whedon reshot it and everything.
No, that wasn't Josh Whedon's fault.
It was, I guess, studios.
Warner Brothers' fault.
But yeah, it made it too much like Batman 66 for me. And I was just like,
I actually wasn't a fan of Nolan's Batman. I know that's probably sacrilege to say.
Blasphemy.
See, somebody else agrees with me.
It's not that they're not good in their own right. It's me personally. Nolan has this vision where he doesn't imagine the superhero world as a superhero world. He wants to make it as realistic as possible,
Right.
which a lot of people like, and I get that. So if you're watching it and you like that, you like Batman being a more realistic superhero, and even Superman being a more realistic superhero, then I can see where you'd like that, in the dark universe. But to me, no, I want a jacked up Bane that's super smart with venom in the back of his neck. I want a Batman, and not necessarily tights, but
Unbelievable.
yeah,
costume.
unbelievable. I don't necessarily need it to all be so realistic and so dark, especially Superman. I don't want a dark Superman. I mean, I know a lot of people will argue with the fact that, if that happened now with Superman, that it would be more like those movies, because you just can't stay overwhelmingly good in 2020 or whenever. I disagree. I think if you were with just a family that was in a farmhouse and raised you that way, you really could be that good. Maybe I'm too hopeful. Maybe I think there's still people that are that good out there.
I think that when you're raised with core values like me, for instance, and I ain't trying to put myself on the pedestal, nothing, just how my parents brought me up, how to treat people, try to treat people with kindness, everybody you meet, because everybody's going through something, and you don't know what this person is going through. Help a person if you're able to, but never look down on anybody for, something that they cannot help. And I think when you're raised with core values, I don't believe you get away from it, because that's just in you. You can't escape that. And I think that's one thing with Superman, was he was raised with human core values from good salt of the earth people, because there are still good salt of the earth people out there. Yes, you have some evil ones, you have some bad ones, you have, like Alfred said in the Dark Knight trilogy, some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
And then you have some people that's like, no, I really do want to save the world, or at least help make this a better place. So I that's my take on it. Just
Well, that's true. There was a great line in the Tomasi Batman run where they were talking about Red Hood. They were talking about Jason Todd, and he was saying that Jason Todd said, all of Gotham is scared of Batman. They're scared because he's in the dark. They don't know what he's going to do to him. But the villains, the super villains, Joker and Riddler and Penguin, they're not scared of him, and they're not scared of him because they know he's only going to go so far. They know that he's not going to kill him. So it leads to a point where,
man, that's a pretty good point.
That's what Jason Todd said, and then of course, he becomes kind of a Punisher. He kills him.
But that was his motive for all that, was they'll just come back.
Yeah, they'll come back, exactly.
If you don't take care of them, they'll just come back.
That's a long, drawn out conversation. Where what side you're on of it. I get it both. I always thought it was funny. In any comics, you kind of have to suspend disbelief because they're comic books. But
right.
When you really start to think about it, you think about Daredevil or Batman or any character. They cannot fight that many people without people dying. They just can't do it.
Yeah.
Like somebody's going to fall wrong, somebody's going to hit their head wrong, and eventually somebody's going to die, and it's going to be their fault. So when you're reading it, you just kind of have to suspend it. I don't care how good they are. If you're fighting in a group of people,
somebody's going to die.
Eventually, somebody's going to die.
Yeah.
And it's going to be
kind of complications will make them later die.
Chip Zdarsky's touched on it in this new Daredevil run a little bit, but yeah, it's but you can't really bring that in. Like I said, you gotta just like anything, movies, TV, you gotta kind of suspend disbelief if you really want to enjoy them. You don't want to pick everything apart.
Right. I think that's, like you said, one problem with the entertainment medium as a whole is a lot of times they want to cater too much to this little group over here that's making It's like, if you don't want to watch the movie, if you don't want to read the book, don't.
Yeah.
I don't know, how would you say it, dog? They really cater too much to one specific group?
Yeah.
Or the cave in.
The casual fan is like what they're always after. It seems like everybody's always after. Is the fans that we don't normally get, or a more mainstream audience,
Like when people talk about diversity in comics, and I hate it on both sides when people say, you can't take a traditionally white character and make them black. Why don't you just make a new character? Well, it's like, if you're not doing nothing with this character at all, what difference does it make if you change his race color?
Right.
That's the whole point. It's like, let's just we'll just make a new character. That ain't always easy. Sometimes you hit a creative block. You and I have both written comics before, and we have both hit that block where creatively you just can't come up with anything yet.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't understand that whole point of like, I understand diversity. I don't understand the whole point of people getting so angry like you can't change your character. What if you change it? What if you change Black Panther white? Okay, then he's White Panther. So what?
It's auto opinion. It's not. I don't necessarily think it's racism to a point maybe, but I think it's more people are just ingrained in their characters. They don't want a Miles Morales Spider-Man. They want a Peter Parker Spider-Man. They don't want Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. They want
Carol Danvers.
They want a Carol Danvers. And I don't think there's anything wrong with either opinion as long as you don't mess with the other one. Why? Like, everybody likes what they like, and there's no reason to say, Spade. I think wrestling's fake. Piss on that.
Right.
If that's what you do, and you enjoy it, then why shit on somebody else? There's no reason to do that. So if they make a Miles Morales and everybody thinks it's great, and Spider-Verse is great, and you don't like it, you don't have to like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because again, I think a lot of people get into the whole point of like, if so-and-so don't like something, like you talked about earlier with the internet, everybody loves going to the internet to voice their opinion.
Yeah.
And it's just
cancel culture.
Yeah. And so it's just like, okay, well, if you don't like this, like one of my followers on Twitter, she didn't like the Arrow show. And I know people who don't, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. She always called it error, because it was like, this is just a mistake, this ain't that. I'm like, it's just a different take. But if it's not for you, don't watch it. It seemed like she would watch episodes just to criticize it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, if you don't like it, don't watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was how he and I feel about Birds of Prey, and I'm just like, that ain't Birds of Prey to me. I really don't have an interest in seeing it. Now, I might red box it, maybe, but I ain't going to theaters to see it.
Well, I was going to say on a previous podcast, like, I would love to eat my words on Birds of Prey. Like, I hope it's as good as everybody says it is. But I was skeptical. That was my only thing with it. It just wasn't traditional, but that goes back to what you said about being ingrained in your characters or your teams or whatever. You know.
Yeah, it's hard, especially if you've really loved a character. If it's been, essentially part of your life growing up, part of your memories, and then they just, completely change it. You're gonna be upset.
Yeah.
You're gonna,
Or even if you're not upset, you may be hesitant
Right.
to check it out. Just because it is so different.
I'm super looking forward to New Mutants. Waiting 2 years. I still not convinced it's actually going to come out in April, but when it does, I hope it blows everybody away. I hope it's the best movie. I mean, it may stink, it may be awful, but it looks good to me. The cast is incredible, and it's different. I call it the Guardians of the Galaxy effect. But once Guardians came out, to me, the Marvel movies have just been, just a parody of themselves. They're just constant jokes, and they don't even take them seriously anymore.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. The mouse can't do wrong. Like they could make a Howard the Duck movie right now, and it'd make $5 billion.
I was about to say.
I think they talked about making one time.
I've heard they were going to. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah.
I know when Guardians, when they first announced Guardians, man, a lot of people were like, man, nobody going to see that, and all they know is the raccoon in the tree, and they don't know anybody else. And I was like, wow, they were actually good movies, especially the first one was really good.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, like you said, 8 words on that, and it was different, but. I'm with you. How New Mutants is. I'm like, I want to see this. I want to check it out, and hope it do good and be able to be a good launching point for the next phase of movies.
Everybody forgets now, though. Nobody knew who Iron Man was. When Iron Man came out.
Absolutely.
You asked anybody back then, they'd be like, "Who the hell's Iron Man? Why are they making an Iron Man movie?"
I used to say that about how Iron Man was. I hate to make the comparison, but he was almost kind of the Aquaman of the Marvel universe. People kind of made fun of that character years ago, and now he's like the coolest person in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, thanks to RDJ.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a great job with him.
He did. I mean, it's dictated how they write that character now. So.
I got to work for him, guys.
Hey, this is a place of business, sir. You do what you need to do.
For sure. But for any of our listeners who haven't, come up to the comic shop in Decatur, Alabama, and check Muncy out, man. This store is really, really cool.
It is. It's a very cool place.
He has storage boxes for your comics that are already put together, so y'all don't have to put them together. Smalls, mediums.
Me sometimes. I'm like, okay, wait, you pull this flap up, and then you do what?
Dog, the comic boxes confuse you.
Yeah, a little bit.
And
I figured it out eventually.
That's cool. And he also has statues, some really cool statues.
Yeah, he does. Some very dope statues.
Dope action figures. I didn't know they made Magic the Gathering action figures,
I didn't
man.
either. I was actually looking at that earlier. I was kind of surprised.
Wow.
It's a big franchise these days.
Mm-hmm. They even got a Star Wars X-Wing thing over there.
Yeah.
That's dope.
He's got Star Wars swag.
He has
all kinds of different comics and graphic novels, old and new.
Yes, sir.
He's got great deals on back issues.
Back issues he got bins for $1, so y'all can load up if you're missing anything. Come up here, check him out, because I bet you he has it. And for $1, you can't beat it. Absolutely. He also has some of his other newer back issues up front that hadn't gone to the dollar bin yet. And he even has T-shirts.
That's what I'm saying. T-shirts, pops.
Comic book supplies, posters,
bags and boards. So
yeah.
He's got all of your comic needs here.
So get your stuff in. Come get your stuff. Get your stuff.
Get your shit in, son. What?
Oh, he even has an It doll.
Yeah. I noticed Pennywise over there.
Yeah, I have to definitely save up sometime. Next time we beam back down, I'm going to have to come buy me some action figures, because I'm going to turn into a 40/41-year-old kid. I'm going to buy Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, I guess, and open up and play with them, because I ain't done that in 30-something years. Play with an apocalyptic type future like I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, because Apollo Electric don't have don't have comic book stores like Earth does. All Electric comics are really weird. A lot of schoolgirls and tentacles over there.
Yeah, that is really weird, but you know, we kind of stuck there for a little bit.
Yeah,
So
well, that's why we come down here. We come down here to get supplies, and then we go back.
this is our pre-spring break.
There you go.
But yeah, man. So anything else you got on tabs?
I'm about tapped, my brother. Got it. Probably need to go back to the HQ and make sure Mac and Cricket hadn't burned it down.
Oh my goodness, we left them with Amy, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I did make it a point to leave Amy. Nobody's heard Amy on the show, I'm sure.
Okay, because we left them basically with her. She's babysitting them.
Yeah.
Our other two best friends, our AI, is watching them.
Yeah.
And they are a little out of control. So
Yeah.
Okay.
they about messed up our danger room last time.
They're known for shenanigans.
Offbeat
So
shenanigans, if you will.
Artificial intelligence has to babysit sometimes.
I got you.
Yeah.
So we may need to go back there.
I think she whooped their asses pretty good, too.
Probably. I know Mac was pushing it.
Y'all should come up and podcast Free Comic Book Day. It's coming up.
Absolutely.
First Saturday.
First
in May.
Saturday in May.
Yeah, got a lot of stuff going on. Should be a good time. Got some local comic creators coming up, and of course, free comic books.
That's
Reason
awesome.
to
That
be
sounds
here.
dope. Yeah, we will have to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said we're in Decatur, Alabama. So.
Yeah, we just
gave
put
you a
it over.
plug, too.
Oh, did you? All right.
But if you want to replug, go ahead and replug. You can't never have too much publicity.
I trust your plug. Yeah.
Say, one thing we didn't say was your hours. Do you want to run that down?
It's pretty much 11 to 7. We're here late on Friday nights because we do magic, and we close an hour early on Tuesdays, 6. Mostly because I used to fence all the time, so I needed an hour to get to Huntsville because it was in Huntsville, so I went fencing.
Nice.
Cool. So we got his hours. We got the plug. Y'all got the info. If you forget, rewind it.
There you go. We'll put it in the description too.
Yeah.
That way you can peep that out.
Watch out for the mouse.
Yeah. Well, now you need to watch out for the mouse.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
Now you're affiliated
Yep,
with us.
I'm on it now.
Just
See, I
watch
try to stay neutral. Y'all reeled me in now.
Well, it just happens.
Yeah.
Guilty by association.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, Muncy, thanks for letting us come to the shop and set
It's
up
been great. I appreciate it. Yeah.
and talk with us about all kinds of geek stuffs.
Yeah, man. Free Comic Book Day. Remember, first Saturday in May.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all come in, check it out. I appreciate it, fellas. I'll pimp you out online.
Hell yeah.
We'll be here.
Awesome sauce. Well, I reckon that is going to do it for another edition of the Guardians of Geekdom podcast. I am your Le Capitan, the DOJ.
I'm the laughing co-captain Spade over here.
Yeah, we will catch y'all next time.
Peace.